Mark, you and I have known each other a while, and you've been saying to me, just give it time. You'll eventually go back to New York. And I got to say, sometimes I start to miss the food options, and obviously I got family still there. New York still has its allure, no question about it. But this wacky socialist guy, after what the city's been through with de Blasio and then with Mayor Adams, and now can this guy really win? I mean, bring us into what's going on here, because a lot of people are looking at this saying, how could someone who's so far left-wing be possibly the next mayor of America's largest city?
Well, you could also be talking about Andrew Cuomo, who governed as the most left-wing kook in the world. But you're talking about this Mamdani, who's an actual socialist, and Cuomo was pretty bad. So this is the first election we have to pray nobody wins this election today. So, this Mamdani apparently did very well in the early voting. They allowed people to vote for 2 weeks before the election day, and that was about 38% of the vote, and he seems to be leading that by 10%. Now, he's turned off some immigrants, believe it or not, Russians, Cuban immigrants, because he's talking about having government-run grocery stores, and they say, we grew up with socialist government grocery stores. They're a nightmare. We don't want to see them again. He's very slick. He's very smooth-talking. He's charming. Great campaigner. Problem with Cuomo, he's running a campaign from like 1986, with these old endorsements. Senator Clyburn. He had Bill Clinton making robocalls, to voters in their 30s. Bill Clinton is way in the past. It's like getting a call from Harry Truman. It doesn't mean anything to you. He was bragging about the Daily News. The New York Daily News newspaper endorsed him. Most people don't even know they still print that thing. So, and he's an old, tired-looking guy, Cuomo. So it was pretty easy for Mamdani to get ahead of him. And Mamdani's doing all these shows. He was on Colbert last night, and Cuomo has had to hide from reporters because of the terrible things he's done in the past, the baggage he has to cover up. So he runs from reporters. He's actually gotten something like 10 speeding tickets in the last few weeks, and 3 or 4 of them were getting away from reporters who were trying to ask him a question. I'm very anti-Mamdani, but Cuomo is no bargain either.
Wait, can you remind everybody why because Cuomo is sort of positioning himself, Mark, as the, I'm not the insane candidate. The other guy is. There's some stuff that Cuomo did at the state level that affected New York, affected all of New York State, that I think people need to be reminded of.
Yeah, he ran for governor as a moderate, but I have the list right here. This is the guy that gave us no bail, no jail. He pushed that like crazy. There's video of him pushing it. He closed prisons, let the prisoners out, and there's video of him bragging about it. He changed the parole board, put a bunch of left-wing kooks on there that let all the prisoners out. They've let out 43 cop killers. He took away the qualified immunity for policemen. That's the protection from being sued. That's why we can't hire any more cops. He's the guy that gave us congestion pricing. He was going to ban ICE from New York State. He threatened to sue them. He called them thugs. He closed Indian Point. That's the nuclear plant. That's 25% of our electricity. He drove everybody's electricity up. He raised taxes. We lost 4 congressional seats under Cuomo because so many people moved out of the state. So if anybody loves him, it's Florida. He really did more for Florida than New York. I didn't even get to killing 10,000 senior citizens in the nursing homes in the dumbest decision ever made by an elected official, sending people with the virus into nursing homes.
Okay, all of that, Mark, and we appreciate you hanging out with us, WOR listeners. This is the first major election since Trump. And so people are looking and saying, okay, what's going to be the outcome here? Trump made a pretty significant improvement in the state of New York. There are lots of people, obviously, that feel like New Jersey could flip red. I mean, Trump only lost New Jersey by about 5 points. When you look at this decision that the Democrats are making, such that Andrew friggin' Cuomo can look like the reasonable, rational choice for Democrats, what does this tell us about the party as a whole? And also, is this primary happening today? Is this it? Or let's say that Mamdani wins. Could Cuomo run as an independent? Like, what could happen going forward? Is there already scuttlebutt about the larger race this fall? and what might happen if Mamdani is the Democrat nominee?
Well, Mamdani has, in the real polls, the internal polls, pulled ahead of Cuomo, which is why Cuomo has registered as an independent. He will be on the ticket as an independent. The current mayor, Eric Adams, is also on the independent ticket. So you're going to have, let's say Mamdani wins, you're going to have Mamdani, Cuomo, Adams, and Curtis Sliwa as the Republican. And there's another guy on some parties. So it'll be the first five-way race. Last time that happened was John Lindsay, which was like early 70s. Lindsay ran as an independent and won as an independent. So it is possible to win that way.
Okay, so ranked choice voting also factors in here. And look, I know Alaskans have had major issues with this. There are relatively few places that do ranked choice voting. It's actually complicated. There's talk that it's going to take a week or 10 days to even figure out what the totals are. What can you tell us about how the tallying will work and how ranked choice voting factors in here?
Well, it's a great system. Democrats came up with this system so that at the end of the night tonight, 9 o'clock, when we see who voted for who, it doesn't count anymore. So under ranked choice voting, no matter what the voters decided, they can go into these charts and graphs. You could have this ranked choice explained to you 1,000 times and still not figure it out. It goes many, many rounds. In fact, in this polling, it shows nobody could win the first 7 rounds, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's the way Mamdani will probably win. He's been more clever understanding it and teaming up with other candidates. It's kind of like on Survivor when you form teams and the secret plots.
Because basically they're telling people if you hate Cuomo, just don't rank him in any way and try to get him in the second, third, fourth, or as you just mentioned, 7th round of the ranked choice.
Yeah, so with this ranked choice, Cuomo could lose, and then he would run as an independent. I just don't see Mamdani winning. Curtis Sliwa is the Republican candidate. There is nobody else. And he's nobody better on the subject of crime fighting. And I think in the end,
how is crime going in New York City? I mean, Mayor Eric Adams, former cop, right? That's what we were all told is supposed to handle this. Doesn't sound like it's been handled.
No, and it's been bad for 3 years. But great improvement by Eric Adams this year. He brought in a police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, who
I used to work with Jessie. I know Jessie, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, she's absolutely incorruptible, very wealthy woman, so she's totally incorruptible. And there were some bad elements in the NYPD. She fired them all, fired a lot of people the first week. It needed to be done. She's put in some of the best people on she's created task forces to go after this stuff. So that's a big improvement. Adams also brought in Randy Mastro, who was the top Giuliani deputy mayor under Rudy Giuliani. So he's in City Hall now running things. So great improvement. And I know Adams is going to start campaigning. He's been very quiet. The current mayor will start campaigning like crazy tomorrow. And who knows, may rise up as an independent, might even beat Cuomo on the independent line.
Who do you think is going to win this mayor's race when all's said and done, Mark?
Curtis Sliwa. I think in the end, if he gets a fair debate, they really rigged the debates last time. And didn't let him talk.
I love Mark's optimism, Clay. I love optimism via Mark here.
Okay, so Mark, let's say that you are listening to us, and obviously WOR, this is going to factor in a big way, New York City area listeners. If you are nationwide, let's say you're listening in Phoenix or Salt Lake City or Houston, one of these cities that doesn't really have a deep connection to New York City, why should people tonight be paying attention to what happens in New York City in this race in your mind, not only for what it means to New York City itself, but for the larger American political universe?
Well, because the problem is the Democratic Party has gone nuts. And instead of the old Bill Clinton Democrats, JFK, they've gone completely crazy. And New York City is the barometer where you see how crazy they're going to go. We gave you AOC, all the real crazies. So if they go this crazy here, actually voting in a socialist, then you know the party's going to go even more nuts, which will kill them in the midterms next year. Do
you agree with Clay? Our buddy here, Clay, likes to make the long-term predictions. He likes to point to the upper deck and then switch sides and bat left-handed. It's never enough of a crazy call for Clay. He thinks Cuomo wins if Cuomo wins the mayor's race, I should say, which I believe you believe he will, right, Clay? Still,
I'm going to stick to that
He's-
prediction, although I may end up being wrong on that.
Cuomo wins the mayor's race. Next stop for him is running as a Democrat nominee. Do you see that too? Because that would obviously affect everybody listening across the country if that happened.
No, zero chance. One thing about Cuomo, he's a very New York urban guy from Queens. I know you could say that about Trump, but Trump had incredible talent as a campaigner, which Cuomo does not have.
Not to win, but to run as a candidate in 2028. Like, I think this is about setting the foundation for him to be able to argue he has a comeback and throw his hat in the Democrat ring.
Yeah, he was a total outcast here. I forgot to mention he left office in disgrace. There was also, besides the sex scandal, ethics committee ruled against him for profiting off the pandemic. But by running for mayor, he's made himself legitimate again, at least that he's a legitimate candidate. I don't think he could ever get the nomination in 28. I don't think anybody who does would put him on the ticket because they figure they're winning New York. They don't need him for that. They'd have to pick another state. And he's got a lot of baggage.
Okay, Mamdani wins. Let's say that happens. You got people like Buck Sexton
insane.
with money who are like, New York, I'm done. I'm going to Florida. Ron DeSantis made a joke. He said the best thing that could happen for Palm Beach property values is Mamdani winning the New York City mayoral race. Do you hear, because you've been doing New York City radio for a long time, you know a lot of people, do you hear wealthy New Yorkers say, if Mamdani wins, this is it? Like, they're just fed up and done? Do you buy that will have a major tax revenue, for lack of a better way to describe it, impact? Because the number of rich guys and gals bailing on New York City, I mean, they're the ones who are funding to a large extent what they see as a failed city.
Oh, yeah. No, a lot of them have said they'll leave. In fact, one went public. John Katsimatidis owns 100 supermarkets in New York. He said, I will close them. He said, I'll move my business into New Jersey.
Wait, Katz said that he would bounce on New York City if Mamdani wins? I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah. He owns a lot of supermarkets. He said, I'm not going to compete
Christie's.
I will not compete with the government. And he's not the only one. He just went public and said it, but a lot of others have said it privately. And again, about 3 million people left under Cuomo as governor. In fact, we had a crisis. You couldn't get a moving van for almost a year. There was a shortage of moving vans under Cuomo, and we did lose 4 congressional seats because of it.
Oh, man. Well,
It's
let's hope Curtis Sliwa pulls off the greatest, a Trump-level political come-from-behind victory here, the greatest comeback of all time. Otherwise, New York could be in for some rough stuff. 710 WOR, 10 a.m. Eastern. Mark Simone, Mr. New York. Sir, appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Love listening to you guys.
Same. Mark also, have you ever listened to Mark's callers, by the way, represent, when they call into his show, all the different accents of all the different boroughs and counties around New York perfectly. You get the Long Island guys calling in, the Staten Island
When I
guys,
did my
the
last
Brooklyn
book,
guys.
I went into our New York, because he's in the same building, for people who don't know, where we can use in New York City if we happen to be there. I think this is a big, I mean, I understand people say, oh, New York City mayor, why do I care? I think if Mamdani wins, it's a holy crap moment for the Democrat
It's an indicator
Party.
for Democrat
Yes.
nationwide. Yeah, all right. Thanks, Mark. Thank you so
Thanks.
much. All right. Rapid Radios makes modern-day walkie-talkies. It's such a uniquely created communication device and so easy to use. Remember those kids' toys we used to have, walkie-talkies? Yeah, imagine that, but with the latest tech and all kinds of bells and whistles that you couldn't have dreamed of when you were a kid. With the push of a button, you can talk with this radio nationwide on an LTE network. You can connect with somebody. It's like a walkie-talkie, but you can talk to somebody anywhere who was also carrying a rapid radio. No setup required. You just pull them out of the box, press a button, and talk. One-touch connection, perfect for busy families. Rapid Radios combines the simplicity of walkie-talkies with today's technology, and it is something to have as part of your preparation plan. Get some Rapid Radios and give them to your family that you want to be able to stay in contact with, friends, neighbors, anybody. Because if things go haywire, you want to be ready with your Rapid Radios. A lot of cell towers can go down. Rapid Radios can be there for you. Go to rapidradios.com, save up to 60% off, get free UPS shipping from Michigan, and use code RADIO for an extra 5% off. Again, the website to go to is rapidradios.com. You'll save up to 60%. Use code RADIO and get an extra 5% off. Go to rapidradios.com.